Hello and welcome back to another Sims medieval speed build. Today I am building these Scottish Blackhouses that have already been seen in the Ultimate Decades challenge that I'm doing, because I did film this a couple months ago now, but I'm finally getting around to doing this voiceover. This house that we're starting off with at the moment is where the Campbells live. Now they're not going to be living in the middle of the lot. I'll pop a few inspiration photos on screen. This is the type of vibe that I was going for. I really do like the black house villages in Scotland, or like the Neolithic ones that exist up closer to the north. I'm pretty sure around Orkney, in those types of areas. I like the idea of these houses. I thought it would kind of be cool to use the for rent system for a build like this, because for the third generation, we had quite a few Sims that were successful with their teenage age-ups, but because I'm using Henford on Bagley and Bridleton Bay, I was running out of space to put these Sims, so I figured, why don't we have one family that's descended from the Fairbairns, one from the Boyds, and one from the McIntyres, move onto this lot and kind of live together. So here I am building a nursery on the opposite side of the house to the main bedroom, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to put another bed in that room. I just really wanted the kids to live on the opposite side of the house. Whether or not that's very historically accurate, which I'm pretty sure it's not, because they really would have slept together in the same room. I just thought for gameplay it makes my life a little bit easier to have them out of the room. If you've seen the main household lot where the Fairbairns live, it's kind of hard to get the parents to have some intimate time in their own bedroom because it's in the vicinity of everybody else, so they're always doing it not in their bed. I also decided to add a basement, which is kind of like a fixer-upper area. They actually haven't really gotten into it in The Sims. There is a bathroom down there that I think they use whenever I'm popping in to get stuff done with this house, but I haven't actually made a move on improving the lot. So as you can see, the main bedroom where the parents are sleeping has the bathtub and a loo, a toilet, and that's about it, and a baby's crib. And then this is the main area. It's the dining, it's the kitchen. I really wanted to go for a kind of rundown vibe. Yeah, like fixer-upper, as I just briefly mentioned, and I've just realised that light is in the window, and I hope I fixed it, but I can't remember if I've done that. Although I had no real goal for where this family was going to go career-wise, I just thought it'd be fun for them to have a little project to work on, which is the theme for the rest of the houses on this lot for the other two. One's a complete fixer-upper. So here I've put the dining room, which they also haven't really used, because if you've seen the challenge, if you're watching the challenge, you'll just know the drama that's happening with this family with their baby trays. It's kind of stressing me out just a tiny bit, but I think they'll have luck on their side at some point. Now, when I was building this, I downloaded these vaulted ceilings that I was so excited to use because I see them a lot in medieval builds, like actual historical ones, and really wanted to put that into the game. But I don't think it worked for this style of house. I did put these beams. I think they work. Do they get in the way just a little bit? But I like that idea that there is something holding up the hay roof. They did sort of stress me out. As you can see, I'm trying to see whether or not they're poking through the roof, and they definitely were. But I was determined to use these in any way possible, so if they look a little out of place or a little janky, that's because I just wanted to put them there. I'm adding cracks and holes and cobwebs, all that type of grotty decor, because as I've mentioned, and I hope I won't mention it again, but this is supposed to be a fixer-upper. I'm just adding the finishing touches, actually getting rid of some items because I figured it might be a bit too expensive for them realistically, and they might not need all that furniture just yet. The basement has not really been touched. There's a bathroom, there's also like a sort of storage room, and then just piles of trash everywhere. I don't know where I was planning on going with the basement, because I think there's enough space for them, like, to live here, unless one of the kids ends up getting married and staying at home, maybe they can live in the basement, but we're not up to that point yet, so it just isn't going to be touched. Trying to look for clutter pieces that would seem realistic, but I obviously didn't because I didn't furnish that quite well, and then I've added some walls to give that illusion that they are working on building other rooms downstairs. This is the Campbell household. Hopefully one day this build will live up to the glory that I have in my head and the images that I was inspired by. So now we're just quickly working on some outdoor activities like the washing and the garden as well. Very important for a community like this. I could have put another house here, and the garden might have to get smaller over time, but I figure for now I really did like the idea of a communal plot. They are still peasants, so they still work the land, although the McClery household, Maggie is a weaver, so she works with textiles, but that doesn't mean that she, her husband wouldn't work on the land and their kids wouldn't work on the land. Over here we're building the Reid household. Well, it seems to be the Reid household, but it's actually the McClery household. I do end up moving it to the other side. It is smaller than the Campbell household. The Campbell house is the biggest house on the lot. I do change the roof. It also, on the Campbell household, overhung way too much that the Sims couldn't get inside, so it doesn't look exactly the way I would have liked in game when I'm playing, but that's the game for you. What can you do? Working on the fencing, I really wanted to go for that kind of like that cobblestoney vibe, which I'd seen in some pictures. Yes, and then I'm moving the house to the other side, and this is where the McClerys live, and then this is where the Reids live. It's so small, it doesn't have the curved walls. It's actually barely got anything, as you'll see in a couple minutes. Apart from a bed, a hearth, a toilet, and I think a counter. But really that's about it, because I really wanted this to be a fixer-upper. Originally I wanted it to be barn styled, but it just felt a little bit out of place with the other two houses, and maybe it was the roof that was doing that. I could have put the eaves in, but clearly we're not doing that anymore because I do end up changing my mind. And here is a jump cut because apparently I wasn't filming whilst I was in debug. So you'll see that the fence has changed and there's more items on the ground, broken fences, just general debug items like the stool and the scythe and all that. Very great explanation on my part. Here we are finally furnishing, quote unquote, the Reid household. It does get a little bit better over time, although not great. And then this is the McClery household. I actually do quite like their house, but it will have to expand at some point, just because the living arrangements are a bit poor, which would make sense for the time period, but is actually kind of annoying gameplay-wise. I'm adding the loom because Maggie inherited it from her mother when she passed away. And then this is their living quarters, literally no space for a toddler over there, it's just a crib. That one doesn't even have anything for babies. I honestly think that we're coming to an end here. That was quite quick, the other two houses. Apparently I spent most of my time on the Campbell household, so you could see where I was most inspired and most concerned about, I guess. I was thinking of adding animals, but I feel like too many of my houses have animals, and that's not really the main theme I wanted for this village, although it would have made sense. And can you really call it a village? No. That's why I've called it the Scottish Blackhouses village, but it's just houses on a lot. Anyway, here are the screenshots. I actually am very, very happy with this build and the way it turned out, and I do love visiting it. And yeah, I don't know, I really enjoyed this. I hope you liked this video. If you'd like to see more, feel free to watch my other build videos. There's only 2 other ones on the channel. If you haven't, and this is the first video you've seen of mine, feel free to watch the Ultimate Decades challenge, and you'll get to see these houses being lived in and seeing family ties, family bonds being formed, and they're actually all good friends. Everyone who lives on this lot, they're all friends with each other, which is really nice, and I want their kids to grow up with each other and form more familial bonds, and I hope this village transpires to the goals I have in mind. Anyway, I hope you're having a lovely morning, afternoon, evening, night, wherever you are, and I will see you for the next one. Bye!